Senator and Republican presidential candidate Rand Paul. Let me get your quick reaction to what's going on Capitol Hill. Are you planning on attending this rally, first of all, Senator?
No, I won't be there, but I do oppose the Iranian agreement. But I don't oppose it because I oppose negotiations, and I don't oppose it because I wish the negotiations to fail. I oppose it simply because I don't think there's enough leverage to enforce compliance with Iran. So, but I don't wish the negotiations to fail, and I think there is a difference. I do want there to be a peaceful resolution here. I just don't think the final agreement had enough leverage to enforce compliance.
You believe the administration has handed over all related documents and material to you and other members of the Senate and House in order to be fully transparent about what this deal includes?
No, I think there's a side agreement that was signed between the International Atomic Energy Agency and with Iran that we haven't been allowed to see. And I think this is in defiance of the structure that was set up by the Corker bill. The Corker bill said that the administration would turn over all agreements, and I don't think that President Obama has been forthcoming with all of the agreements. So I really think at this point there should be some consideration of simply going into executive committee for the Senate and considering this as a treaty and voting on it as a treaty, and that's what I would propose.
Well, the administration is going to oppose that. All right, let's move on and talk about some other issues while I have you, Senator. Kim Davis, she's the Kentucky clerk in your home state. She's now out of jail. She had been in contempt of court for refusing to sign those marriage licenses for same-sex couples. Do you think she should be back on the job, doing her job, if she continues to refuse to honor what the United States Supreme Court ruled, interpreted the Constitution as saying a few months ago that everyone in the United States, men and women, homosexuals, heterosexuals, they have a right to get married?
Well, the Supreme Court did say that, but there's also something called the Religious Freedom Restoration Act that passed in 2013 in Kentucky. And I don't think they're necessarily contradictory. What the Religious Freedom Act says is that an elected official doesn't have to do something that's contrary to their religious beliefs if there can be found an accommodation around that. And I think Ms. Davis has actually offered that. And that would be to simply stamp the licenses either by a notary or to have Roane County on them, and she would file them as she does any other contract. Her objection is that in placing her signature and her name on there, it's as if she is giving specific approval to something that she has a religious objection to. So I've always thought there's an in-between between continuing to issue contracts, and I think adults do have the right to have a contract, but I think there also is a place for people who have a religious objection not to have to sign something and give their imprimatur stamp of approval to something they disapprove of.
Well, we'll see if that can be finessed in Kentucky, your home state. Let's talk about taxes right now. I know you've unveiled your own major tax reform plan. Jeb Bush unveiling a tax plan now that in effect would raise some taxes for hedge fund managers. Basically, that's what Donald Trump wants to do as well, lowering individual and corporate tax rates at the same time. First of all, what's your reaction? I don't know if you've had a chance to review Jeb Bush's tax proposals. Compare and contrast his with yours.
Well, I think the main contrast is that my tax proposal would make government smaller. I think the Bush proposal would keep government about the same size. It would mandate some new taxes that are not mandatory on companies to bring their money home. And I think overall you wouldn't really see a dramatic change in government. My tax proposal makes government dramatically smaller. I get rid of all 70,000 pages of the tax code, gets rid of the IRS, and allows people to file their tax return on one page, 14.5% for everybody. So mine is a very simple plan, but mine also makes government smaller. I'm afraid Jeb Bush's plan would continue government at about the same size.
Senator Paul, thanks very much for joining us. I know you got to run.
Thanks, Wolf.
Senator Rand